said all the things that went through my head. It's never too much. Episode 3. I'm just yapping while I do a little bit of work. And I just wanted to talk about the fact that I have never been an and or type of bitch. I'm a late diagnosed ADHD baddie. And I don't know if it was because I did theater in grammar school or I just refuse to believe that things are black and white. But I've always been a two things can be true, a yes and type of girl. And that is probably why everyone has always said that I'm too much. Because I just refuse to believe that I should have to sacrifice anything. I recently made a call to the interwebs for every black woman-owned business in the United States that would be interested in bartering to participate in a barter retreat. Literally, like the idea popped in my head. I talked about it for maybe 20 minutes and then I posted a video on the internet. Like saying that out loud to me sounds insane, but I mean that tracks. I mean, I did the same thing with this YouTube series, to be quite honest. I kept thinking about how much everyone had always told me, like, oh, you were too much. I mean, let's just paint the scene for you, all right? I was, I don't know, 6, 7, 8. And you know how they ask children, like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I must have thought I was like Dream Barbie or something, because I was like, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a lawyer, I want to work with animals, I want to do this. And every single time a very well-meaning adult would be like, oh, but Jocelyn, like that's a lot, like you should pick one. And I was like, why? Fast forward to today, I never changed. Every single time I have been faced with an option of this or that, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to tell you yes. Because the answer is both. I did do the right thing as a kid. I went to school. I did good grades. Fought all my life. Struggled every single day. And I always found it interesting when people would be like, oh, but like, you're so good at this. Like, don't you love doing this? And I'd be like, no, I don't. It sucks. Like, I'm literally fighting for my life. And people were like, but you're so good at it. If anyone else is a high functioning ADHD person, you have probably heard those same things over and over and over again. And it's so interesting to me that we always talk about performance and never about the cost. Because I truly believe that there are a lot of high performing people. They might not even necessarily be neurodivergent, but there are tons of high performing people that are so burnt to a crisp, it's not funny. Like when I went through my burnout in January, my psychiatrist had me like take a blood test. Looking back on it now, I can laugh. But my ferritin, which is like a precursor to iron, was so low. I was like, is there a reason I'm not in the ER right now? Like, are we not concerned about that? I don't even remember the original range, but I believe the range is supposed to be 3 digits. My numbers were single digit. So when I tell people like I almost died, I'm not being hyperbolic. Anywho, going back to the task at hand. So I've never been one to settle. And I realize now that that's because I'm not supposed to. And again, this may sound really cocky, self-assured, but I am realizing that I'm not supposed to settle. I've never settled for anything. I didn't settle in my relationships. I didn't settle at work. I didn't settle when I decided to become an entrepreneur. Like, I do not settle. And the hard part about that is that oftentimes people see you and hear what you may want for yourself and the things that you want to create. And because they don't think they have the capability, they will try to discourage. Amazing example of that. This barter retreat, right? Some people are saying, well, like, why only black women? Well, first of all, have you seen me? But also because I recognize that black women are at the bottom of the societal ladder. Like, why would I not try to enact change where I could get the biggest bang for my buck? Or even in my Pilates business, I purposely chose to target an audience, the hardest to reach audience. Most of the times in entrepreneur and sales and stuff like that, they tell you to kind of like find your warm market and sell to them. And yes, that would make sense. Except I'm not here for the money per se. I want my needs met. And we live in a capitalist society. But honestly, I look at my Pilates business as a way to impact my community in a new way. And so when I set forth to market my Pilates business, I said, I want the random nigga on the street to come to my Pilates class. That's not an easy sale. It's not an easy task. This is not a warm market. I'm going to the coldest market possible. Because in my mind, if I can reach even one person in that frigid, cold market, then everything else is easy. And I don't know, maybe that's just me, but that's literally how I have always looked at every problem. I would like to address the hardest thing first, because everything else will just flow from that. And with this barter retreat, I could have gone small. I could have gone individual. I could have gone to people that are already doing it. And I am working with people that are already doing the work. But I said, no, I want to show people on a grand scale that this is feasible, because I'm the only one that sees it right now. And I don't even want to necessarily say I'm the only one that sees it, but I'm the only one that saw it and said it. So if someone is out there crunchy, like, oh, well, she stole my idea. Like, did you watch the Michael Jackson movie? He said you got to be ready to receive it, because otherwise it will move on to the next person. And that's why I moved so fast, because I knew and saw the potential that the idea had, and I wanted to be a part of that. So, I mean, you snooze, you lose. But that's always been a sticking point, I think, with a lot of the things that I have tried to accomplish in my life, because people don't see it, or people see the obstacles and they don't see the long-term outcome or benefit. And I make my decisions based off the long-term impact. If this has, and it will have, the long-term impact that I see for it, I'm going to build this bad boy brick by brick. I don't know how long exactly it'll take me, but I refuse to lose. And I think that's the difference between those that make it, if you will, versus those that do not. Because I think a lot of times we get discouraged, and I am not immune to that either. I have been through a multitude of emotions in the last 6 months over leaving corporate. Great, on paper, I had an amazing job, amazing benefits, wonderful pay, great PTO, all of the things. And I just knew deep down inside of me that I would die there. Again, physically, it was literally killing me, but also just my humanity, my sanity. It was killing me inside. And so the answer to that was I had to jump. I didn't know where it was going to go. I didn't know how things were going to work out, but I just couldn't stay comfortable for the sake of comfortability. And if I had to tell anybody anything, going through just decisions and weighing your options, I take fear as a signal, not as a barrier. Fear is telling me that this is what I want to do. This is something different. This is something unusual. But fear does not mean that it will automatically fail. Had to switch it up. The lighting was getting bad. But yeah, fear is a signal. All emotions really are just signals. And when you start to realize that the emotion is a signal and you need to understand the message behind it, you are better able to ride the wave. Because I think oftentimes we look at fear, anger, frustration, anxiety, and we see those as, oh, something must be wrong, instead of, okay, my body just needs assurance. I need more information. I need time. Sometimes there is no fix. Sometimes you just need to ride that emotion. Even just before I made the announcement about the barter, I was going through that week and I just felt for lack of a better word, I just felt antsy. And it's a very weird feeling because it's like you have a lot of bottled up energy, but you're also tired, and you're like, well, what do I do? Do I rest? Do I literally sleep? Do I go and knock off another thing on my to-do list? And the motivation wasn't there. And your girl's got ADHD, so it's not like motivation's gonna be like, hey, it never shows up when I really want it to. And I knew I was going back and forth because, again, as this high performer, I had always been like, oh, I just need to push myself more. I just need to knock out like 6 more things on my to-do list, and then I can take a nap, and then I can rest, and then I can do this. And that whole week, I had things I wanted to do. I had things that I was like, oh, I should do. And I just didn't have it. And having done the work to understand what that means for me and how I need to address it, I decided I'm going to step back. Now, a couple of months ago, I wouldn't have done that. Or it would have scared me to do that because it's like, oh, I gotta have this business has to thrive. I have to push. I have to do it. And I, again, have had to do a lot of work on understanding that actually the biggest asset I can bring to my business is a regulated nervous system. And it's my energy. I do not start a scrap of work until I have done the things that I know puts me in the best position to move in the way that I need to move. So that's why I have my morning wiggles every day. That's why I get outside every day. That's why I try to eat as healthy as I can. That's why I purposefully do my hobbies first. I ain't gonna hold you. Some days I don't even start work until like 11 o'clock because that's how long it takes me to be ready. I gotta wake up. I gotta get outside. I gotta move my body. I gotta eat something good. I have to journal for the day. I have to read. Maybe I'll do a little coloring. Maybe I'll play the guitar. I have to do what fills me up first, above any and all things, because that is the only way I have maintained. I don't know. Let me check my phone. I have a countdown. I have stayed burnout free for 143 days. January 17th was the last day I dealt with burnout, or I want to say like the worst of my burnout. Ever since then, I've been getting better and better every day. And being neurodivergent, that's a very hard thing to do. I have seen lots and lots of people talk about how they constantly go back in and out of these burnout cycles. And when I heard that, I was like, that cannot be me. And again, that sounds cocky. That sounds a little, oh, she thinks she knows everything. No, I just knew that like I made it my mission from that day forward that like I have to prioritize myself above everything else. So what may look insane to somebody else, I do that for me because that's what I need. And I tell my friends, my family all the time, do what you need to do. We live on a floating rock. Like all of these rules are made up. Nothing is real. Like just do it. So, going back to what I was saying earlier is like I'm a very yes and type of autistic. And maybe that's my rigidity, is that I just refuse to believe that anything is impossible because I have yet to fail. And if I fail, I learn. And then when I learn, I do better. So it really is a win-win when you think about it like that. And I wish more people had that understanding because I think we would be able to live a much more authentic life. We would be able to live in a much more authentic community, and just a multitude of things would be essentially obsolete if we just lived in that place. Prioritizing our nervous system, prioritizing movement, prioritizing feeling at home and safe in your body, and then moving from that. Every month I gave myself like a word to kind of set my intentions for the month. And I haven't really set one for June yet, but I think it's been kind of like coming to me organically. I think the word is joy. I have gotten to a place where every day isn't perfect, but the joy that I feel knowing that I'm creating a life that I want to live and that excites me, and I don't have the Sunday scaries. I don't wake up dreading the day. Like, that's so weird. It's so, I just really hate that like so many people wake up immediately dreading the whole day. You just cracked your eye open. You still have crust in the corner and you're already like just done. That cannot be life. And it used to be mine. So it's like when I think back to like how I used to dread so much, I truly feel like that was light years ago. And that's what I'm trying to work and help others to see, is that you don't have to live like that. Nothing materially has changed for me. Honestly, on paper, some things are technically worse. But I love it here. And I want that for everyone else. So, if you've ever felt like too much, just know you're not alone. And know that that too much is actually what you need to be leaning into. It's scary. There is no blueprint. People will call you crazy. People will say it's too much. And you should do it anyway. I'll see you next time.